Hi, I'm Peter Jones, Chartered Surveyor, author and property investor, and in this short series of videos I'm thinking about 10 things that I've learned over the last 20 years in which I've been investing for myself in my own right. And number 2 on the list is that most of the things that we worry about actually never happen. Now I say that because I meet so many people, particularly new investors and would-be investors, who quite often actually take very little action, especially at the beginning, because they're so worried about getting it wrong or so worried about what might happen if things don't go exactly in the right way for them. But the reality is, in my experience, most of the stuff that we worry about actually doesn't happen. What tends to be the case is that if anything is going to happen to us at all, it's usually going to be something which we haven't even thought about. It's the totally unexpected stuff which gets us unexpectedly. If you're kind of half expecting it or half worrying about it, then that's probably not going to be the thing that gets you. Now, in some ways, obviously there's ways that we can guard against things happening to us anyway. If there are things we are particularly concerned about, then we can take steps to make sure that those things don't happen to us, just so long as it doesn't stop us from doing anything at all. Because the fail-safe and default for some of us is to make sure that nothing happens, we end up doing nothing. That's not going to work, is it? Because ultimately we're going to have to do something or else nothing will happen. So we can guard against some stuff, and there's some obvious risks in property which we can evaluate even before we start. I don't even need to tell you what they are. We can sort of guard against them. Some of the things that we can do to make sure that we don't mess things up completely is obviously getting ourselves educated. We can undertake our due diligence, we can perhaps get a mentor who's been on the same journey and who's been through the hurdles and all that kind of stuff and been through the difficulties that maybe we're concerned about, and they can guide us so that we don't have to go through those difficulties, and that's all well and good, and that's all good stuff. Other stuff we don't need to worry about, even if it is legitimate to worry about it. An example of that is I meet so many property investors who worry about getting into property just in case the property market crashes. Well, we don't have to worry about that. At some stage in the future we know that the property market is going to crash, but that shouldn't stop us from doing property either. All we need to do is to mitigate the risk of that now by doing the things which we know about, which is buying for cash flow, buying at a discount for example, making sure that our finance is all secure and sound so that we're not going to have any arguments with the banks in the future and all that kind of stuff. And rather than worrying about it, if we know it's just going to happen, we can just accept it, but plan for that. But sometimes there's the unspoken, unknown fears which people use as an excuse to stop them from doing anything. And as I say, those are usually the things which actually are never going to happen anyway. So we may as well just crack on and get on with it. So what am I saying? Well, what I'm saying is, don't let worry stop you from doing anything. In fact, I wouldn't even worry about the stuff that you're worried about, because it's not likely to happen. What is going to happen is something you haven't even thought about, and if you haven't thought about it because you don't know what it is, you can't really deal with it until it happens. So until it happens, you may as well relax, and when it does happen, that will be the time to deal with it. So until next time, here's to successful property investing.